Hello everyone, welcome to new Java video session. And from now on, we're moving to new section, which is 6.1, right? Yeah, this is one of the most important, or let me rephrase it, one of the most interesting sections that we're gonna see together. So from now on, we will get more familiar, we're going to work more closer with the strings. So far, we have heard about the string. We use some string values, and we try to manipulate in the way, with the tools that we have learned so far. But from now on, we're going to see strings more in our life, and we will use more in our coding, and it will be we will have more ideas about it. So string is a special class that we mentioned before. If you remember that we have one package that holds special classes that we don't have to import it, like scanner class, like arrays class, they are coming from util package, right? But string is special class. Is coming from where? From java.lang package. So similar to generally accepted definition of string of being a sequence of characters in Java. So if you remember in the previous video, one of the previous videos, I mentioned the strings are nothing but they are sequence of characters. So what do I mean when you look at the string values that we see some characters there, right? That's why we call them sequence of characters. So string object represents the value, which are the sequence of characters, or as known as, we can just say strings, also an array of chars. But it looks different. It might sound a little weird, but I'll show you how and why did I say that. So let's say, let me just insert, let's say, string is a special class comes from java.lang package. So this is what we need to know. And also we said we use the string objects. What is the string object and how do we create it? In this section, we will see that. So let's start to move on. So far, when we create a string, we say, how do we do that? We just say string, for example, str is equal to Java, for example. So this is going to be our string value, like string value that we create, string variable, and then we assign that this value to this string. But this is the one way of using string, one way of assigning the value to the string container, basically, which we call, let me add the text here, we call this string literal. Okay, and there's another way of creating string by the help of new keyword that, if you remember from scanner class, if you remember that we were saying scanner, for example, is equal to new scanner. That is the same keyword that I'm talking about that we use when we create an object of the class. So now let's see how is it going to look like. we will say string1 str1 is equal to new keyword string, and then we pass the value. For example, let's pass Java as well here. Now we have created a string object. Now let me just add it here, string object. So what is the difference between string literal and string object? So if you remember, when we said, when we were comparing strings, I said that in the, we can use equals, okay? But this is highly discouraged. What did we say instead of it? We said, let's use equals method. So now we will understand why did we say something like that and why we try to avoid using this operator. Instead of that, we use the method, equals method. So when I say string, when I create the string literal, we say the strings are again going to be stored inside of the heap memory. Now let's imagine this is our heap memory, and let me put it here, and there is, make it a little bigger, okay, and there is another thing inside of this heap. Let me write down, this is heap insert, where's that text? Insert Xbox explanation heap. Okay, and this is heap memory, and there is one more thing, shape, and this is our string pool. Let's try to give different color. Let me see. And this is going to be our string pool. Okay. Let's make it a little smaller. So when we do string literal, when we store the string literal, it will be stored here. Let's insert one more shape here and choose this. This is going to be stored inside of our, and actually let me change this the color as well. Okay. Okay. So this is going to be stored in here. We will have Java here. Okay. But when we use the new keyword Java, it will be stored inside of the heap memory, but not in the pool. Now let's insert another shape. This is going to be here somewhere in the heap. Okay, so we will have Java insert Java, and I'll just put it here. And because the way we are creating a string object, we're saying go create a new string object. So what if I say something like this now? String, let's make this one str2, actually 3, and let's make this one str1 is equal to Java as well, right? This is also literal. String, literal. So this is not going to create a new object, or it's not going to add anything new to our pool. But instead of that, it will just, let me bring the shape, it'll just go point the same thing, whatever my first string literal pointing. Okay, so they are pointing to the same memory spot. So that's why when we use equals method, it is working in between these two. But if we use the same thing with this, if you check if str equals to str3, then it won't work, because equals, when we use a double equal sign, it's making sure if they're pointing to the same spot in the memory, right? But when you use the dot equals method, it makes sure if they have the same value. So when we create a string object with a new keyword, it will store inside of the heap memory. But when we create the string by the help of string literal, it will just go and create it inside of the string pool, which is also inside of the heap memory. All right. So this is the thing that I want you to imagine and see how does it look like in the memory, the string. So when we usually work with the strings, we use this one. The reason for that, for example, if I come here and let me just copy and paste it and make it string 4, and what are you doing? What do you guys think? What's going to happen? And let me just insert another text box, and I'll say Java. Let's see what's going to happen. It will come here, and if I let me just bring the shape, and let's see where is it going to point. See, it will point to the same place, to this memory spot in the heap out of the pool. You see, it creates a new object. The reason we're doing this, we don't want to waste too much memory, so we prefer to use the string literals when we create a new string. But when you want to create an object of it, we say new keyword, and it will go create a string object inside of the heap memory. So if I come here and say str, say, let me just come here and say string str 5. Okay, sorry. Let's do this str2, this one is str1, and 1, 2, 3 is equal to hello Java. And this is going to be let me fix this. Let me just create the box. Let's put it here. Okay. This is going to be here. And this str5 will point at this Java. Hello Java. So now you understand, now you have an idea how is it working in memory when we create a string object. So what is a string object? String object, let me just no need this. Now you see the difference. Okay. String object that helps us to reach out the all methods. It's basically a representative of the class, string class. We create an object of the string class, and then we use them to reach out the all methods or values of the string class. So by the help of these objects, we can we can take an advantage of the string methods. All right. So that is how string looks like on the background. Let me just real quick change the colors of these arrows, then it will make more sense. Okay, it's ready. So we say when we directly pass the value by the help of the quotation marks, string object, we just creating the value, and inside of the heap memory, there's a place called the string pool that we create the value there. When we try to use the same way to create a string and pass the value, we are not going and adding another Java there, but instead of that, we are saying point it to the same area. Compiler JVM looks for this one. If there is a Java already inside of the string pool, it will just point this one, this object to here, all right, to the Java. But when we use a new keyword to create a string object, it will go and then create the new memory, allocate the new memory for Java. But if I do the same thing again, string 4, and create the new object, it will go create another one and point this str4 to there, right? So these variable names, you see, these are inside of the stack memory. So I didn't want to make it too much mess and create them different shape for stack memory. These names are going to be inside of the stack memory, but the values are going to be inside of the heap memory. So variable names are inside of the stack, but the values are inside of the heap memory. I'm talking about the strings, okay? But when we're talking about the primitives, they're inside of the stack memory. But remember this, when we use the literal to create an object of the string, it is going to happen inside of the string pool. If we create the same different string object with the same value by the help of string literal, and it will just going to point to the same place. But when we create an object of the string, by the help of new keyword, it will go separate memory inside of the heap. And when we use the same value for different string object which we create with the help of new keyword, it will go and in separate different memory spot for that one and will point it there, right? Or with the literal, it won't create. If it is already there, it will just point to it, right? That's the first thing that I want you to give information about, and just remember that. And we said there are two ways of the creating of string object. First way was that we were familiar so far. String literal. Second is new keyword. New keyword. Okay. String literal, which we just use the quotation marks and then pass the value in between them. This is the thing. This is the important information about to memorize, remember about the string, and please try to read the content material, and I'll see you in the upcoming sessions. Take care.